Hello and welcome to the Red Zone, viewers. This week we'll be having another random rant as I explain to you what I feel are some of the more oddball Super Mario titles. That's right. A little while ago I was playing some good old-fashioned Super Mario Bros. Games and I noticed, hey, some of these games are just not quite right. They don't feel right compared to the other games in the series, you know? It's just my opinion, of course, and I'm not even really sure how to describe what a Mario game should feel like, but I'm fairly confident that these titles feel like oddballs. They don't jive with the rest of the series. So I've compiled a list of them here for you guys. They're in chronological order. I'll leave it up to you to figure out or determine which one is the most oddball game here. But just bear with me. You'll see what I mean. So the first game on this list is also probably the most obvious, and that is Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, as most of you probably already know, Super Mario Bros. 2 that we received here in North America is actually a reskin version of a game called Doki Doki Panic. Now, Doki Doki Panic's original Japanese release was never intended to have anything to do with the Mario series and was not in any way intended to be a Super Mario Bros. Game. But since the real Super Mario Bros. 2 was deemed to be too hard for us, we instead received a game about throwing eggs at birds. So it probably goes without saying, but the physics in this game with the running, jumping, and pulling up of items don't really feel like it does in any of the other Mario games. It just feels weird and different. And the vertical scrolling, while a cool idea, doesn't really fit in with a Mario game. That said, I actually like this title, and it was the first time we got to choose between 4 different characters: Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad. And it was the first time we got interesting new mechanics for each one of those characters, like Luigi's higher jump but slippery footing, Peach's floating jump, and Toad's excessive speed. Super Mario Bros. 2 also gave us some of the series' most iconic enemies, like the Shy Guys, Snippets, and of course, Birdos. Now, ironically, a version of this game called Super Mario USA would later be released in Japan to allow that market to experience the Super Mario Bros. 2 we here in North America had come to know and love. Or, for some people, I guess, hate. But you know what? I'm actually really glad that this became a Super Mario Bros. Game. The Deus Ex Machina of, oh, don't worry, it's all a dream, may seem like a weird excuse for shoehorning the Mario series into a game where it really never should have been in the first place, but the series gained a lot from this game, and I'm glad for it. Next up on our list is Super Mario Land. Now, this might also seem like a fairly obvious title, since as most of you probably already know, Super Mario Land's development was not led by Satoru Miyamoto, but instead by Game Boy creator Gunpei Yokoi. Now, as a result of this change in development style, and also likely heavily due to the limitations of the Game Boy hardware and how new it was at the time, Super Mario Land has a distinctly scaled back feel to it. Yes, there were changes to the standard plot formula, like having to save Princess Daisy instead of Princess Peach, and fighting against aliens instead of Bowser's minions, but these changes could be seen as almost fresh or innovative at the time, whereas the gameplay changes felt almost lacking or regressive. For instance, Super Mario can no longer throw fireballs, having instead to settle for Super Balls. Now these Super Balls bounce around at kind of weird angles, making it hard to hit enemies, and they take multiple hits to kill the enemies. In addition, some enemies like Koopa Troopas have been replaced with Bombshell Koopas, whose shells don't bounce around the stage when you jump on them, but instead explode like bombs. Even the classic Goomba enemies have been replaced with Goombos? I mean, despite coming from Nintendo, this title feels more like a pirated game than a proper Super Mario entry, and it's for that reason that it makes my list of oddballs. Next up on the list is Super Mario Sunshine. Sunshine marked the first time that a Nintendo console launched without a Mario title, as the GameCube instead launched with Luigi's Mansion. Now, by the time Sunshine came around in 2002, a lot of us Mario fans had relatively high hopes for the series, and I may be in the minority here, but I was relatively disappointed. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Sunshine is a bad game, but by shifting the focus away from running and jumping and onto spraying water with FLUDD, Sunshine got away from the core gameplay of Mario. That, in combination with the lack of variety in the level locales, makes Sunshine feel like another Super Mario Bros. 2, where the Mario series was sort of shoehorned into an unrelated game. I mean, Sunshine doesn't even have Koopa Troopas or Goombas. Now don't get me wrong, there are some challenges in Sunshine where you have to make your way through levels without the assistance of FLUDD, and with the exception of the absence of Mario's long jump, he does actually play and control in these levels as you'd expect from a typical Mario game. However, the fact that the only typical Mario gameplay can be found in these scattered challenges is the reason why Sunshine makes my list of oddballs. Up next is Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Ah yes, the Galaxy games. Those of you who watched my earlier videos will know that I wasn't exactly a fan of the Galaxy series, and in fact, it's that dislike that inspired this video of oddballs. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the earlier video, or if you're just looking for a quick refresher, I'll try to keep this brief. Aside from disliking the camera, my main issue with the Galaxy series was the motion controls and spin attack. Now, while the motion controls did seem to have some potential, especially for the bouncing on the rolling ball stages and the cursor function, the decision to use waggling the remote around to activate a spin attack really ruined things for me. The spin attack itself felt really overpowered. I mean, giving Mario the ability to just defeat enemies without any form of power-up simply by spinning around in a circle felt just wrong. I mean, add to that the fact that you activate this attack by waggling the remote in a game that's supposed to be known for its tight controls and precise button presses, and it feels like they created an entirely new type of gameplay unrelated to the Mario series on the whole. The Galaxy games again feel like Mario's just been dropped into an unrelated game. Now, that said, a ton of people love these games, and I'm glad they enjoyed them. I'm also glad for the Galaxy series' contribution to later games like 3D Land and 3D World, but the Galaxy games are themselves very oddball. So there you have it. Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Land, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, all oddball entries in the Super Mario series and all in their own unique ways. Now, I might not be a fan of all these games, but I'm certainly appreciative of the different contributions they've made to the series over the years. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this list, or if you can think of any other oddball Super Mario games. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends, and in the meantime guys, stay in the zone.